Welcome back to English Podcast course. Today, we'll practice fun English conversations for
It always stumps me when someone asks, "What's your favorite city?" I feel like it says so much about a person, but I never have a quick answer ready. Do you actually have one? Or do you play it safe and say, "Well, it depends," like I do?
Honestly, I always end up blurting out Barcelona before I even think it through. It's like my brain's on autopilot, but I get what you mean. The question feels loaded, right? Like, do you pick where you had the most fun, or somewhere that just felt like home?
Wait, so what is it about Barcelona that takes over your reflexes? Is it the beach, the food, the architecture, or just the sangria talking?
The sangria definitely deserves a shout-out. But honestly, it's the way you can just wander those twisty Gothic streets and stumble on something wild. A tiny tapas bar, a street festival, or someone playing guitar at midnight. Plus, there's that surreal gaudy vibe everywhere.
That sounds almost cinematic. I've only spent one frantic day there, but even just grabbing coffee in the shadow of those colorful buildings made me want to write postcards to my past self.
It's got that magic for sure. Even if you're lost, you still kind of feel like you're in the right place. But now I'm curious, if you had to choose, which city keeps calling your name?
For me, it's definitely Tokyo. There's just something about stepping out of a quiet shrine and immediately getting swept into a neon-lit street full of ramen shops and arcades. The pace is wild, but I love how every little corner feels like its own world.
I totally get that. Tokyo is like a sensory roller coaster. I remember getting lost in Shibuya and suddenly finding a cat cafe inside a bookstore. The city is full of those tiny surprises that make you feel like you're in on a secret.
Exactly. And the food don't even get me started. I ate the best bowl of noodles of my life in this cramped basement spot, with only 3 seats.
Those hidden gems are the best part. Makes you want to ditch your itinerary and just see where the day goes. That actually reminds me, how much of your love for a city is tied to the people you're with versus the place itself?
That's such a good question. I think half of it is the vibe of the city, but the other half is definitely the memories you make with people. Like, I probably wouldn't have fallen for Tokyo so hard if I hadn't gotten hilariously lost with friends at 2 a.m.
Oh, totally! I still remember a rainy night in Barcelona, squeezing under one umbrella with a friend, trying to find churros. That memory is probably why the city feels so special to me now.
It's wild how the right moment can change your whole impression of a city, and sometimes even a kind stranger can tip the scale. I once had an old lady in Paris walk me to my hotel when I was hopelessly lost.
Those little kindnesses make a place feel like it's rooting for you. It's less about the landmarks and more about those micro-adventures, right? Speaking of which, have you ever visited a city you thought you'd love, but it just didn't click?
Oh, absolutely. I was sure I'd fall head over heels for Rome. I mean, it's Rome, but something just didn't gel. Maybe I hyped it up too much, or maybe the crowds got to me. It was beautiful, but it didn't give me that spark.
Funny, I felt the same about New York on my first visit. I expected to be swept off my feet, but I just felt overwhelmed. It took a second trip, with better shoes and zero expectations, for me to finally get what the buzz was about.
Sometimes you need a do-over to really get to know a city, or maybe just to see it from a different angle. I love that our favorite places can change as we do. Makes me want to start a new list of cities to revisit with fresh eyes.
Now I'm tempted to book a flight and see if any of my old favorites still feel the same. Maybe that's the secret. The best city is just the next one you're curious about.
Every time someone tosses out a this or that question, I get way too invested. Like suddenly my whole identity hinges on whether I'd rather have pizza or tacos for the rest of my life.
I get that. The stakes always feel weirdly high, even if it's just beach vacation or city break. I'll defend my choice like it's a Supreme Court case. It really brings out people's personalities, don't you think?
Totally. I've seen friendships wobble over cats or dogs. There's just something magical about the simplicity. It's like a shortcut to seeing what makes people tick.
And half the time the questions are so offbeat. Last week, someone asked me if I'd rather have fingers as long as spaghetti or toes as short as Tic Tacs. I mean, who comes up with this stuff?
That spaghetti fingers one is wild. Some of these questions aren't even about preferences. They're just, which kind of misery would you pick? Would you rather never use the internet again or never eat dessert?
Oh, brutal. I'd have to give up dessert, crying inside because I'm hopelessly glued to my phone. But who's making these up? There's an art to asking questions that make you squirm a little.
Exactly. It's like the person who invented, would you rather fight one horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses? They probably have a PhD in creative torment.
Honestly, I love how these questions get people thinking outside of the box. Sometimes the debates get so dramatic, you'd think the answer really matters in the real world.
Speaking of dramatic debates, have you ever noticed how people will start analyzing every angle? Like, if I pick invisibility over flying, what about airport security?
People go full-on philosopher mode. I once spent 20 minutes arguing the pros and cons of teleportation versus time travel. Spoiler, nobody won, but we all lost track of time.
That's the best part. The questions might start as a joke, but suddenly you're 2 hours deep researching whether cats or dogs were domesticated first.
And you just know someone's going to pull up a scientific study to back their answer. Like, actually, studies show dogs sense emotions better. It's just never ending.
What surprises me most is how revealing these choices can be. I once thought I knew my friend inside out. Then she picked pineapple on pizza with zero hesitation. Mind blown.
Seriously, you learn the wildest things. I once met someone who would rather give up TV than chocolate. Makes you wonder about their coping strategies during a breakup, right?
It's such a fun way to get to know people. Even in job interviews, they'll toss in a coffee or tea like it'll unlock some hidden truth.
I always freeze on those. I mean, what does my answer say about my work ethic? I just don't want anyone judging my chai obsession.
You know what we should do? Come up with our own this or that questions. Right now. Put each other on the spot.
Game on. Would you rather have a rewind button for your life or a pause button for everyone else's? Pick carefully.
Oof. That's tough. I'd go with rewind. Fixing all those awkward moments would be too tempting. All right, your turn. Waffles or pancakes? Forever?
That's savage. I'm loyal to pancakes, but waffles have those tiny pockets. Wait, now I'm second-guessing everything. See, this is why this or that is never just a simple choice.
After all this, I feel like we could keep going for hours. There's always another question, another dramatic debate waiting.
It's addictive. Plus, you learn a little more about people and yourself every time. Next time someone asks this or that, I'm ready for battle.
So true. And honestly, picking sides is the least of it. It's the wild conversations that make it worth it.
Totally agree. Now, remind me, do you choose tacos or pizza? Just kidding. Unless you want to debate it all over again.
You know, I always think it's wild how everyone has a favorite food. But the reasons behind it can be completely random. Like my go-to is tacos, but honestly, it's probably because they remind me of my grandma's kitchen.
Oh, tacos bring up so many memories for me too, except it's more about that time I tried to make them myself and nearly burned the house down. I swear, favorite foods are never just about taste. There's always a backstory.
Exactly. It's almost like each bite is a little time machine. But have you noticed how some people pick their favorites just because of convenience? Like pizza for the sheer lack of dishes.
That's hilarious. My best friend literally ranks food by how little cleaning is involved. But for me, there's something about the ritual prepping, cooking, even messing up makes it all taste better somehow.
Speaking of memories, I feel like childhood meals set the bar for our favorites. I can't hear the word lasagna without flashing back to my mom's epic cheese-loaded marathon dinners.
Oh, now you've got me thinking about my dad's weekend pancake escapades. The pancakes were always lopsided, but somehow that made them legendary. Isn't it amazing how food can lock in those memories, good or bad?
Totally. And sometimes it takes just a single whiff of something to transport you right back to those kitchen table moments. Smells are like culinary teleporters.
I've had that happen walking past a bakery, the scent of fresh bread, and suddenly I'm 6 years old, sneaking bites before dinner. No wonder people get so nostalgic about food.
That nostalgia factor really ties into comfort food. Like, whenever life gets stressful, what's your absolute comfort go-to? For me, it's hands down mac and cheese. The cheesier, the better.
Mac and cheese is pretty unbeatable. For me, it's gotta be ramen, especially on rainy days. There's just something about a big, steamy bowl that makes the world feel a little less chaotic.
Ramen's such a good one. I think there's some science about carbs and warmth making us feel at home. Plus, slurping noodles is just fun, so there's that.
And let's be honest, sometimes the ritual of making your comfort food is half the therapy. Even boiling the water feels like self-care on a tough day.
Funny you mention rituals, because trying new foods always feels like a gamble for me. I once tried sea urchin sushi on a dare. It was like tasting the ocean and losing a bet at the same time.
That's brave. I still get flashbacks to the durian incident of last summer. Let's just say my taste buds weren't ready. But every now and then, those food risks pay off big time, don't they?
Absolutely. I discovered my love for kimchi after being convinced it would be way too spicy for me. Now it's a staple in my fridge.
Same here, I avoided spicy food for ages, but one adventurous night changed everything. Sometimes a food fail just leads you to your next favorite.
What surprises me most is how much our favorites shift over the years. I mean, I used to hate mushrooms as a kid, and now I practically put them in everything.
I can relate. There's no way younger me would touch anything green, and now I'll fight you for the last piece of roasted Brussels sprout. It's almost like our taste buds are on their own little life journey.
Exactly, palates grow up too. It makes me wonder what foods I'll love, or totally hate, in another 10 years.
Maybe we'll be all about kale smoothies and cricket protein by then. Hey, at least there's always something new to try and stories to tell about it.
You know, I was just thinking if I ever had to give up my hobbies, I'd be completely lost. Like, what would I even fill my evenings with?
Losing hobbies would be like losing the flavor in life. Seriously. Sometimes it feels like work and chores just drain you, and picking up a guitar or drawing a doodle is the only way back to sanity.
Totally get that. Even a bad day can turn around if I get 30 minutes to work on my model train set. It's almost like a reset button for my brain.
Sounds familiar. Whenever I'm knee-deep in a jigsaw puzzle, the world just kind of melts away. It's almost meditative, don't you think?
It really is. That actually makes me wonder, where did your love for puzzles even come from?
Oddly enough, my obsession with puzzles started when I was a kid, and my grandma would make these epic 1,000-piece monsters every winter. I got hooked just trying to impress her.
That's such a wholesome origin story. Mine's a bit messier. I just stumbled upon my old train set in a dusty box in college, set it up on a whim, and suddenly I was that 12-year-old all over again.
It's wild how hobbies can sneak back into your life like that. 1 minute you're decluttering, next thing you know, you're down a rabbit hole of YouTube tutorials at 2 a.m.
Story of my life. Even now, I'll tell myself, just 10 more minutes, and suddenly, it's midnight. Speaking of which, have you ever tried picking up a completely new hobby as an adult?
Oh, I've dabbled. Last year, I signed up for pottery. Let's just say I have a healthy respect for every mug in my cupboard now. None of my creations have handles that stay on.
That's hilarious. I once tried salsa dancing and nearly broke my ankle just trying to keep up. But honestly, there's something liberating about being terrible at something for a while.
Exactly, it's freeing. Nobody expects you to be perfect, so you get to laugh at yourself. Plus, who knows? That first wobbly mug could be the start of a lifelong passion.
Or the start of a mug collection that nobody actually wants to drink out of. But jokes aside, it's that process of learning that makes picking up new hobbies so addictive.
Oh, for sure. And half the fun is just meeting new people who are also fumbling around. Pottery class was full of future lopsided mug makers just like me.
I know what you mean. Joining my local model train club introduced me to the quirkiest, most passionate folks. There's just an unspoken bond when you geek out over the same random thing.
There's a real magic in that. It's like suddenly you have this little tribe people who get excited about the same obscure details as you. You ever end up collaborating on a project with them?
Absolutely. One time we built a mini replica of our town's old train station. It turned into this weekly event: snacks, stories, a lot of glue mishaps. It was the highlight of my year, honestly.
That sounds amazing. I wish my puzzle group would do something like that. We mostly just race to finish, but maybe I'll suggest a team challenge next time.
Funny thing is, I swear my hobbies have actually made me better at life. Like, after wrestling with tiny train tracks, suddenly fixing a leaky faucet seems way less intimidating.
Honestly, I relate. Puzzling has taught me patience and spotting tiny detail skills I end up using at work more than I expected. Who knew a Sunday afternoon tradition could have bonus perks?
And I love how hobbies can just snap you out of a rut. Even on days when nothing goes right, those little wins like finally finishing a tricky scene are so satisfying.
Completely agree. Plus, it's a built-in excuse to take a break. Sometimes you just need to step away from the grind and do something for yourself, no strings attached.
So true. Maybe that's the real magic. Hobbies remind us we're more than just our to-do lists. Now I'm tempted to dig out my old painting supplies after this chat. Honestly, for me, the toughest part about working out isn't even the exercises. It's just convincing myself to walk through those gym doors. I swear, my sofa develops gravitational pull the second I put my sneakers on.
Oh, I completely get that. Once I even changed into workout clothes, sat down for just a minute, and the next thing I knew, I was binging old sitcoms. It's like my brain is allergic to effort until I'm actually in the gym.
Exactly. And then there's that weird moment of walking in and trying to look like you belong, even if you have no idea where anything is. I always pretend to tie my shoes while I scan for open treadmills.
That shoe tying trick is classic. Sometimes I'll fiddle with my water bottle just to buy a few seconds of "I'm totally not lost" time. The struggle is so real.
So once you're actually inside, do you ever feel like the equipment is judging you? I swear those machines seem designed by engineers who hate humans.
It's wild. Some of those contraptions look like medieval torture devices. I once spent 5 minutes pretending to stretch while secretly watching someone else figure out the rowing machine.
And every time I get on a new machine, I'm convinced I'm doing it wrong until proven otherwise. Half the time, I just copy whoever looks the most confident nearby.
I've totally done the same. One time I copied this guy's routine, only to realize too late he was actually training for a strongman competition. Let's just say, my arms hated me the next day.
You know, the best part of the gym might be people watching. There's always that person who's somehow running at light speed while reading a novel.
Don't forget the grunter, the one who sounds like they're trying to lift a car every time they pick up a weight. Plus, there's always someone who treats the gym like a photo shoot.
Absolutely. You just know when the phone tripod comes out, you're about to walk into someone's TikTok masterpiece. Last week, I almost photobombed a girl's squat video. Oops.
That actually reminds me of the guy who gives unsolicited advice. I once had someone correct my form with a full demonstration using a water bottle as a dumbbell. It was as awkward as it sounds.
Okay, speaking of awkward, have you ever made a total fool of yourself at the gym? I once tripped over a yoga mat and took out an entire row of foam rollers like dominoes.
That's classic. A couple months back, I spent 10 minutes trying to unjam a locker, only to realize it wasn't even mine. The actual owner just stared at me like I was some kind of gym bandit.
It's always worse when you try to play it cool. Like, you drop a dumbbell and then try to pretend it was all part of your plan. Meanwhile, everyone's side-eyeing you from their elliptical.
Oh, totally. Last week I got tangled in the battle ropes and nearly took out a spin class. I wish I was exaggerating. At this point, I think I'm just building character, one mishap at a time.
But, despite all the awkwardness and chaos, I weirdly love the energy of the gym. There's something about seeing everyone push themselves that's honestly kind of contagious.
Yeah, it's like everyone's groaning through the same burpees together, and that shared misery just bonds you. Plus, after a while, those intimidating machines start to feel like old frenemies.
Totally. And let's be real, nothing beats that post-workout feeling like you just conquered a tiny sweaty mountain. I walk out of there feeling like a champion, even if I only managed half my workout plan.
Exactly, and hey, the best part is knowing you showed up, no matter how messy or awkward it was. Honestly, that's half the battle, just making it there and getting moving.
So glad you could make it today. There's just something magic about getting together to sing, don't you think?
Honestly, every time I walk into a room full of singing people, it's an instant mood lift. There's just this sense of belonging even when you barely know anyone yet.
Exactly. You don't need to be an expert. Just opening your mouth and joining in makes you feel like part of some secret society. Plus, it's impossible to be grumpy when everyone's belting out "Don't Stop Believin'" at the top of their lungs.
That's the magic. And it's funny, I swear half my new friendships over the last year started with a song, usually one of those guilty pleasure tracks no one admits to loving until someone starts the first verse.
You know, thinking back, my very first club night was basically 90% nerves, 10% singing. Did you ever get that wobbly voice feeling the first time?
Oh, my hands were sweating so much I almost dropped the mic. I was sure everyone would notice, but turns out nobody cared. They were just happy I joined in. That acceptance is a game changer.
Totally. I remember someone else flubbing the lyrics right before me, and everyone just laughed it off. It makes you realize perfection is so much less important than participation.
For real, the vibe is way more supportive than you'd expect. And let's be honest, some of the best moments are when someone goes completely off key but does it with total confidence. That's what sticks in your memory.
What's cool is, you don't need any musical background to join in. I've seen people who only sing in the shower become total stars after a few weeks.
Absolutely. And the club's super open to every style, whether you're into musical theater or just want to try out your best rock star impersonation. Last month, we had someone freestyle a sea shanty and everyone jumped in.
That's the joy, right? You can experiment, mess up, and nobody judges. I've even noticed people who claim they couldn't carry a tune end up leading group numbers by the end of the season.
It's all about the encouragement. Sometimes, those small wins like nailing a tricky note spark a confidence that spills over into everyday life. That's the real reward.
Jumping off that, it's wild how the club turns into more than a singing group. You start swapping stories, sharing snacks, even celebrating birthdays together.
That's been my favorite part, honestly. I never expected to find my weekend dinner crew or people to text about new music releases. It's almost like the singing is just the excuse to build a community.
Totally. The playlist debates alone could go for hours. And somehow, belting out lyrics together just breaks the ice faster than anything else I've tried.
After you've harmonized with someone, or tried to, anyway, it's impossible to stay strangers. There's just this instant bond, even if you only agree on one song all night.
Thinking ahead, I'm excited about all the new stuff we could try. Open mic nights, maybe a themed costume sing-along, or even a songwriting workshop. What would you want to see happen next?
I love the idea of a costume night. Imagine the group photo. Plus, bringing in local musicians for a masterclass could be wild. I'd be down to try anything that stretches our comfort zones a bit.
Agreed. And the cool part is we've built a space where everyone's up for trying weird new ideas. Who knows? Maybe next time we'll be singing in 3 different languages or writing our own club anthem.
Now you've got me picturing us as a quirky musical flash mob. Whatever happens, I'm just glad to be part of this whole unpredictable ride. Here's to the next chorus.
Thanks you and see you next time.